Okay. So we were discussing about second law of thermodynamics and the entropy, right? In yesterday's class. Okay. So can somebody define entropy? Who
Entropy
can
is dq by
explain
dt.
what is that?
Sir, entropy is dq by dt. The change in heat.
Yeah, change in entropy is dq reversible divided by T, right? That is the change in the entropy, right? But eventually, yesterday, we got an expression uh, saying that the entropy is equal to Cp log theta plus constant. Do you remember that? Entropy is equal to Cp log theta plus constant, where theta is the potential temperature. If you remember yesterday's class, theta was the potential temperature. Oh, yeah. The screen is not responding. Okay, so this is the equation I am just referring to. Question number 44. Is this visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. So this is what now we relate the entropy in terms of the potential temperature in atmospheric science, right? We relate the entropy with potential temperature, and this also is reflected in the thermodynamic diagrams, right? So when we say the lines of constant theta, that is isentropes, right? Isentropes are also the lines of constant entropy. Okay, the lines of constant theta are also the lines of constant entropy, and lines of constant theta are the basically dry adiabates. You remember the T5 gram, the lines of constant theta are actually the dry adiabates on it, T5 gram. So this is how the entropy is related to potential temperature and then to the dry adiabates onto T5 grams, right? And therefore, the lines of constant theta are also called the isentropes, isoentropy, right? Because S, the entropy, is related to theta, the potential temperature. So the lines of equal potential temperature is also called the isentropes, right? Isentropes. Okay. And therefore, as you can see from this equation, the potential temperature can be used as a surrogate for entropy. Okay, the potential temperature can be used as a surrogate to the entropy. Right? Well, actually, entropy is a very interesting thing. Entropy, we can visualize many atmospheric processes in terms of the entropy, like in the physics, the fundamental physics. In atmospheric science also, say for example, the development of the weather systems, right? The development of a tropical cyclone, for example, can be interpreted in terms of the strengthening or weakening of the entropy, right? In the Earth's atmospheric system, the development of the weather system, like tropical cyclones or thunderstorms, can be viewed in terms of the strengthening or weakening of the entropy. And not much work actually has been done, no, in this regard, in terms of the investigation of the weather system based upon the entropy. Still, a lot of work needs to be done in this area, right? There is a journal called, name of the journal itself is Entropy. You might not have heard about that journal. The name of the journal itself is Entropy, and that journal, interestingly, publishes not only the work, the research work related to atmospheric science, but also any field of science in which entropy plays an important role. No, that journal called Entropy publishes the work, the research work. And yesterday I was just trying to uh, browse and found that a very interesting paper related to atmospheric entropy published in the journal. Okay, I just show you just one or two diagrams, based upon the result of that paper. Okay, well, this I think we have already discussed yesterday these things about the cyclic process and the Carnot cycle. These things we have also discussed yesterday. Okay, okay. So this is what I was trying to show you and tell you that the applications of entropy and the second law of thermodynamics to atmospheric science are significantly important. In particular, the study of entropy balance, okay, the entropy production, the entropy flow are very, very important in atmospheric science. Okay. Can the entropy budget place stringent bounds on the intensity of storms? Now, such kind of questions have not yet been answered properly. Right? Whether the intensity of storms depend upon the budgets of the entropy, right? So still not many studies are done in this regard. The effects of negative entropy flow on the self-organization of atmospheric systems provide new insight into the mechanism responsible for the evolution of a weather system, as well as new tool to predict its track and intensity change trend. Right? So, in other words, if you can analyze the entropy of a cyclone, you will be able to also predict the track of the system and intensity of the system. Now, this diagram shows the track of a hurricane. This is a hurricane track. You know what is hurricane? Yes or no? Have you heard of hurricane? Everybody is silent. Am
Yes,
I
sir.
audible? Yeah. Okay. So this line shows the track of a hurricane. Where do we call hurricane, in which part of the world? Which part of the globe? Where do we call hurricane? Where are hurricanes found or formed on the earth?
The
Tell me.
Pacific. Sir, Atlantic Ocean.
Yes, exactly. Atlantic Ocean. The tropical storms or the tropical cyclones that form in the Atlantic Ocean are known as hurricanes or called hurricanes. Like we said, simply cyclone. In our Indian Ocean basins, Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal, we call cyclones, but the Americans call that hurricane in the Atlantic. But if it forms in the Pacific, do you know what it is called?
So typhoon.
Typhoon, exactly. It's called typhoon in the Pacific, right? And in the Australian region, in Australia, have you heard of what it is called in the oceans around Australia? No? Nobody has heard in geography? Yes or no? Everybody is silent.
Sir, something like will.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Willy Willis, right? Willy Willis. That's what it is called in the oceans around Australia, right? The tropical storms, basically they are tropical storms, right? We call it cyclone. The Americans call it hurricane if it is in the Atlantic. The Chinese, the Indonesians, okay, the Philippines, the Japanese, they call it typhoon in the Pacific. Australians call it Willis, but they are actually the tropical storms, and they're different from the extratropical storms, by the way. Have you heard of the extratropical storms? That we
No, sir.
know? Well, what we have, cyclone, is actually a tropical storm. But there are extratropical storms. Or extratropical cyclones. You know, the name here, tropical cyclone, tropical storm, implies that it is in the tropics, right? And you know what is tropics? The tropical latitude, the tropical belt, right? You know that. But beyond the tropical belt, say we said, let us say approximately plus minus, say 23.5, or we can take it up to 30-degree latitude. Okay. Tropical storms. But what about those which are more than 30-degree north or 30-degree south? Like those forming in the belt 30 to 45 degree, or sometimes even above, like 60-degree north or south. There also the storms form, the cyclone forms, and they are actually the extratropical cyclones. They are the extratropical cyclones which form in this belt. Okay. The characteristics of these two storms are significantly different. The mechanism of their formation are very, very different. Okay. This type of systems form mainly because of so-called, no, of course, convection plays a very important role in that. And you will study later on Sisk mechanism. Sisk mechanism. You know what is Sisk?
Don't know, sir.
You know what is Sisk? Huh?
No, sir.
No, you have not heard, right? Sisk stands for conditional instability of the second kind. You have studied about the conditional instability, right? This you have studied, isn't it? Yes or no? Everybody is silent. Conditional instability.
Sir.
We talked just few days ago, we talked about conditional instability, didn't we? Gamma S less than gamma D. Didn't we discuss about this?
Yes, sir, we have.
Yeah, we discussed about this conditional instability, right? Conditional instability. But here we are saying conditional instability of the second kind. Okay, second kind. So this is another type of conditional instability. This is the first kind. Okay. This instability with the conditional instability of the first kind. That is actually purely thermal. Or thermodynamic, you can say, or thermodynamic instability. Right. Whereas in this second kind, there is a cooperative mechanism of development of a low pressure system. You know, if they have a, suppose, a cyclonic circulation, C, right? Cyclonic circulation, or CC, or you can say also a low pressure area, low, right? Or just you can see this is a vortex. This is a vortex, right? So in the CISC mechanism, you will study in detail later on, maybe in some other subject. CISC mechanism, this vortex, this is called vortex. You know what is vortex? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, vortex. You also must have studied in your dynamic meteorology vorticity. Have you studied vorticity? Yes or no?
No, sir.
Not yet. Okay, you will be taught
Yes,
vorticity. Yeah, you will be taught vorticity and divergence.
So vorticity is in the
Kya? What is
so
that you said?
vorticity is in the next in the next chapter, vorticity
Okay.
equation.
Okay. Vorticity is the next chapter, so you will study it later on. Vorticity and divergence, right? Basically, a measure of the rotation, the spin of the wind or the circulation. This is the vorticity, right? This is the measure of the rotation. Whereas divergence or convergence, its opposite is convergence, right? Opposite of divergence is convergence. Okay. So, for example, we say divergence, that means wind is diverging outside. Right? This is the divergence, D. When we say convergence, that means wind is converging. So this is C, right? So this is divergence, this is convergence. So convergence is always associated with cyclonic circulation, or cyclonic circulation is always associated with the convergence. This is cyclonic circulation, and this is the, you can say, CC, whereas divergence is associated with the anticyclonic circulation. This is anticyclonic circulation. Or simple way, you can say that anticyclonic circulation is a clockwise flow, and cyclonic circulation is a anti-clockwise flow. Okay. This is clockwise flow, this is anti-clockwise flow. And these are all in the northern hemisphere. Okay, all these things you will study anyway in detail, right? Similarly, when we say vorticity is a measure of the rotation. Suppose you have a rotation field or like this, CC, AC. So the measure of the rotation is the vorticity. Actually, these are also called the vortex. Okay. So anyway, what I was trying to explain to you is that the intensity of this vortex or the storms, cyclones, depend upon the entropy of the system, right? And this is a track of a hurricane. All this discussion started with hurricane. So this is a track of a Hurricane Katrina. Have you heard about the Katrina? Katrina,
Yes,
not
I know, sir.
yeah, you have heard about that, right?
Yes, sir.
Katrina. Yeah. Katrina is the name of a hurricane that hit the US coast, Florida, in 2005, between 23rd to 31st of August 2005. Katrina. Okay, so this is a track of the Hurricane Katrina. On different dates, these red marks are indicating the position of the hurricane. On 27th of August, this is 26th of August, 28th of August, 29th of August, and so on. 30th of August, and so on. 31st of August, and then it weekend. So this is the track of the Hurricane Katrina. This is Florida. If you recall the map of the USA, this is Florida. Can you see this coast? The coast of Florida, can you see this? Yes or no?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
This is the map of USA. This is the coast of Florida, right? They are all Atlantic Ocean. They are all Atlantic Ocean, right? And this is the Hurricane Katrina track on different dates: 26th of August, 27, 28, 29, 30, and 31, and after that it weekend. So in the next diagram, this is published actually in this paper, Liu et al. 2011. I was telling you the name of the journal is Entropy. So if we plot the or calculate the entropy of the hurricane of the system, then you will see like this. This is showing that a lot of contours and a red patch at the center. This is on 29th of August. The entropy fields at 850 millibar, 850 hectopascal, that is the pressure level. At 18 UTC, 18 UTC is the, what is UTC? UTC क्या है?
So universal coordinate times.
Yeah, time convention, you can say. Like the Greenwich Mean Time, GMT, right? Like the Greenwich Mean Time, GMT or UTC, they are synonymous. Okay. So our Indian time is how much different from the UTC?
5.5 hours. Sir.
Yes, 5.5 hours. That is the difference between the Indian time and the Greenwich Mean Time or UTC. We are ahead. We are ahead of the Greenwich Mean Time. That means time in London. Okay. So this is calculated. This field is calculated. The entropy field is calculated at 18 UTC. That means in our time it will be 23rd and half, 23 and a half. That means night 11:30 in the night time. At 11:30 in the night time. On 29th of August. On 29th of August 2005. That means when the Katrina was somewhere here. Katrina was somewhere here at the time. So the entropy field associated with Katrina is computed and plotted here in this diagram. Okay. Now there are various other fields also, like the green lines are contours at 850 millibar. Okay. They are the height. You have now studied about the geopotential height, right? Geopotential, isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you have studied about. So when we
Yes.
represent the isobaric surfaces like 850 millibar or 1000 millibar, okay, or 900 millibar or 100 millibar, we represent it in terms of the geopotential height of that isobaric surface. That means what is the height of that geopotential surface? Like what is the height of the 850 millibar? That will also indicate whether there is a low pressure or high pressure at the ground. The height of the 850 millibar isobaric surface is less, that means there will be low pressure at the ground. If the height of the 850 millibar surface, isobaric surface is very high, that means at the ground the pressure will be high. That's what it indicates. They are related to each other. That you have studied through hydrostatic relationship. Okay. So in this, these numerical values that you are seeing are the contour fields of the height of the 850 millibar isobaric surface. And the black lines are also black lines here. They are the isoplates of entropy flow. Entropy flow with areas of negative values set it. Those which are negative, they are set it. Okay. So what it says essentially, what we get out of this result, out of these diagrams, is that the intensity of the hurricane is directly related to the entropy of the system, right? Is directly related to the entropy of the system. And similarly, we can also, based upon the intensity of the entropy, the magnitude of the entropy, you can get the magnitude of the intensity of the cyclone, or you can also, you will be also be able to predict or estimate the approximate position of the track of the system, right? So this is how they are related to each other. Okay, and there are many many things which are related to entropy in atmosphere. Okay, and many things which are still not studied properly now, like how they are related to a square line, the thunderstorms, the nor'westers, and blah blah blah. Right? One can compute the entropy of a thunderstorm that hit your area. Suppose some thunderstorm has hit your area, some nor'wester has hit your area. You can compute what is the entropy of that nor'wester. What was the entropy of the thunderstorm? Okay, these are the direct examples of the applications of entropy in atmospheric science. Okay, already it is about 1:37 now. So today actually I thought I will start the new topic, Clausius-Clapeyron equation, but now we shall do this maybe next week. Okay, I'll talk about this. It's another important part, okay, of the atmospheric thermodynamics based upon the Carnot cycle, and this Clausius-Clapeyron equation gives us the relationship between the saturation vapor pressure and the temperature. Okay, how the saturation vapor pressure is related to the temperature. That's what we get from the Clausius-Clapeyron equation. Very important relation. Okay, because this is very widely used in cloud microphysics or cloud physics, studies of the cloud physics and atmospheric science. Okay, the variation of the saturation vapor pressure with temperature that we calculate based on the Clausius-Clapeyron equation. So next class we shall discuss about how the Clausius-Clapeyron equation can be derived based upon the second law of thermodynamics. You must have studied this in your BSc, I know. How many of you remember this? How many of you remember? Do you remember? Yes or no? Everybody is silent. Nobody remembers, huh? Have you studied in BSc or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so all of you have studied, I believe, but probably nobody remembers. How many remembers? Tell yes or no. Everybody is silent. That means nobody
No,
remembers.
sir.
Yeah. Yeah, so that means nobody
No,
remembers. Okay. So now you have to study again. Since you have forgotten, so you have to study again. Okay. The Clausius-Clapeyron equation. What is the Clausius-Clapeyron equation and how it is derived? Okay. Anyway, we shall discuss that in the next class. Okay. So any question for today? Okay. So
No, sir.
No, sir.
Everything seems to be very clear. So I'm going to stop the presentation sharing. Okay. And that's it for today. Any question? Or anybody missed the attendance in the beginning? Nobody missed any attendance in the beginning, right? So I'm going to stop the recording also. Stop recording.